You were sold a beautiful lie. From childhood, through movies, fairy tales, and even the advice of older generations. The message was drilled into your mind: if you treat her right, stay loyal, protect her, provide for her, she'll be there when life gets hard. You believed it. You carried it like truth, like gospel. That if you gave her everything, your heart, your strength, your money, your time, she'd repay you with unwavering loyalty. That when life hit hard, when your back was against the wall, she'd be right there beside you, hand in yours, saying, "I'm not going anywhere." And maybe, in your best moments, she really was. She smiled when you were winning. She praised you when the path was clear. She posted pictures, talked about the future, made you feel like forever was guaranteed. But then came the shift, the slow unraveling. You didn't even see it coming. Life hit you like it hits every man at some point. Money slowed. Stress rose. Maybe your confidence dipped. Your energy dropped. You didn't stop being a man. You just got tired. And that's when it happened. She changed. Her tone, her presence, her warmth. The woman who once clung to you like you were her world started acting like you were a stranger. No big fight. No clear reason. Just absence. Cold, passive absence. And you're left staring at the pieces, trying to figure out how loyalty turns into distance without warning. But the truth is, she didn't betray you. She just stopped benefiting. What you thought was loyalty was really convenience. You gave everything because you believed it would be reciprocated. She stayed because it served her, and the moment it didn't, she slipped out the back door. No drama, no closure, just gone. You thought vulnerability would bring you closer. That opening up, showing your wounds, letting her see your human side would deepen the bond. You weren't looking for pity, just understanding. A moment of grace, a shoulder to lean on. But what you got instead was withdrawal, emotional distance, confusion. You could feel it in the way her eyes changed when you spoke your truth. You weren't asking her to fix you. You were just letting her in. But what she saw wasn't a man navigating a storm. It was a man who no longer felt like safety. And that's when it hit you. She never loved the raw you. She loved the version of you that was winning. She didn't sign up for the man who bleeds. She signed up for the protector, the provider, the one who never flinched. And when you did, even slightly, she started to doubt. Not because she hated you, but because she wasn't equipped for the weight of your reality. That's the emotional mismatch. You believed love was about connection, about standing in truth together, but she saw your vulnerability as instability, a crack in the armor. And while you were trying to build trust, she was quietly stepping back, telling herself you'd changed. The truth is, you didn't change. You just stopped pretending everything was fine. And in that moment, the illusion shattered. She didn't want the real you. She wanted the version that made her feel secure, powerful, taken care of. And when your struggle disrupted that fantasy, she emotionally exited. So while you were hoping she'd come closer, she was already creating space. You weren't collapsing, you were being honest. But honesty doesn't always attract compassion. Sometimes it just reveals who was never capable of holding you when you fell. It feels like heartbreak, but it's deeper than that. It's the collapse of everything you believed about love. You didn't just lose a woman, you lost your illusion. The belief that being a good man, a solid man, a loving man, would guarantee loyalty. You thought your consistency, your devotion, your sacrifices were an unbreakable bond. But when she left, you realized none of that mattered. Not in the way you hoped. Because love in this world is rarely unconditional. It's tied to performance, to outcomes, to what you can provide emotionally, financially, socially. And once your output declined, so did her affection. But that moment, as painful as it is, becomes your turning point. You stop playing a role. You stop performing. You stop trying to impress someone who only loved you at your peak. Her absence becomes your mirror, showing you how much of yourself you gave away for approval. That pain becomes your teacher. You start realizing that your value was never supposed to come from her validation, that the loyalty you expected from others must first be built within yourself. And slowly, your heartbreak turns to power, because now, you're no longer chasing connection, you're filtering it. You don't rush to trust. You watch, you test, you let time reveal the truth. You learn to sit in your own presence without needing anyone to stay, and that shift changes everything. You stop trying to prove your worth to those who only saw your glow, not your grit. You start living for truth, not attention, and that energy, grounded and detached, becomes your armor. Not to keep love out, but to keep yourself from falling for illusion again. Now you walk differently, not broken, but built. Not bitter, just clear. Eventually, someone new shows up. Maybe she seems kind, attentive, even different. And part of you wants to believe it, to let go of the weight, to finally relax and trust again. But you don't move the same anymore. You don't hand over the keys to your soul after a few sweet words or pretty smiles. You observe, not with suspicion, but with clarity. You've learned that love means nothing if it can't survive discomfort. So you watch how she acts when you're tired, when you're quiet, when you're not performing. You pay attention to the silences, the subtleties, because now you know, it's easy to love someone at their peak, The real test is how she holds space. When the lights dim, you don't test her with games. You test with truth. You let her see your humanity, not the curated version, but the man who's been through fire and still carries the ashes. You don't apologize for needing time, space, or solitude. You let her experience what it's like to stand beside a man who values peace more than praise. And in doing so, you filter out the shallow. The ones who crave only your highs, your energy, your shine, they'll drift away. And that's exactly what you want, because now, you don't want a cheerleader, you want a partner. Someone who stays when the applause stops. Someone who doesn't flinch when you're not at your best. You're not searching for perfection. You're watching for presence, for emotional endurance, for a woman who doesn't romanticize the journey, but respects the process. That kind of loyalty is rare, but it exists, and when it shows up, you'll know. Not because she says all the right things, but because she doesn't run when things get real. She stays when others would leave. This is where the real transformation begins, not in the rebound, not in the distraction, but in the silence after the storm. You've stopped bleeding. You've stopped explaining. You've stopped begging anyone to see your worth. Because now, you understand something most men never figure out. Your loyalty has to belong to yourself before anyone else. Not in a selfish, bitter way, but in a grounded, unshakable way. You're no longer looking for a woman to save you. You've become your own anchor. The love you needed, you've cultivated within. The strength you sought, you now wear like armor. And the validation you used to chase, it's irrelevant now, because you've outgrown the need to be seen by anyone who couldn't stay when you were invisible. That shift changes how you move. You no longer pursue women out of lack. You no longer cling to comfort. Your energy speaks before you do. Calm, certain, cold, but not cruel, just solid. And that kind of presence, it repels the weak. The ones who came for status, for attention, for the version of you that made them feel special without ever asking if they could do the same. They walk away quietly now, sensing they can't shake you. And the rare ones, they feel it. They lean in. They don't try to perform or pretend. They just match your energies, low, steady, real. Because now, you're not offering access to your world for free. You've built something sacred. A life rooted in purpose, peace, discipline, and not everyone qualifies. You've seen what happens when you hand the keys to someone who only came for the shine, so you no longer make that mistake. You let time reveal everything. You don't rush, you don't force. You simply observe. Because real loyalty isn't loud, it's proven. Quietly, consistently, over time. And here's the irony. When you no longer need her to stay, that's when the right one will. Not out of obligation, not because of what you can do for her, but because of who you are, at your core. She won't be attracted to your performance. She'll be drawn to your presence, to your stillness, to your integrity. She'll see that your life is full with or without her, and that's exactly what makes her want to be part of it. Not to complete it, but to complement it. You've become a fortress. Not guarded out of fear, but protected by standards. You know what it costs to let the wrong one in, so you don't gamble anymore. You qualify. You lead. You filter. And those who aren't built for the journey, you let them go. Without anger, without explanation. Just peace. And when she, the one who left, tries to return, you won't feel the need to punish or prove. You'll look at her with calm eyes and steady breath, and simply say, "You left when I needed you most, and now I no longer need anyone." That moment will be your closure. Not revenge. Not validation. Just quiet power. Because now, you know, longer live hoping for loyalty. You live knowing your worth. And only those who can match it earn a place beside you.